Hey, what's going on? Welcome to the show. I'm Danny Kanell alongside my guy Chris Manno here for episode number 2 here with Valuetainment Sports. Fired up. Got a fun one lined up for you. A lot of different stuff we're going to cover today. It was an interesting weekend. It's kind of that slow time in the sports calendar where there's not a ton going on with the NFL. Still a couple weeks away from the regular season. College football's getting cranked up. The NBA's off. Baseball's kind of in the summer doldrum. So we got some good topics to get to, some meaty ones that are some things, a couple things we're a bit passionate about. A couple quotes from the GOAT, from Tom Brady. I want to get to that down the road. NBA, Luka Dončić is over in Europe. He's playing. He goes down. I want to discuss that. What is he doing, and what are the Lakers fans thinking, seeing their multi-million-dollar star go down in a heap? We had a big UFC fight. 319 went down. Sure, I know you got some thoughts on that. Plus, the drama around the Cleveland Browns quarterback room should finally be settled. I think it might only be the beginning. And then, believe it or not, we actually have 5- and 6-year-old highlights of football players. Yes, that's right. 5- and 6-year-old highlights, because we don't start them young enough in our country. And so we have to react to some things that we saw out there from the weekend. A lot to get to. How are we doing? We doing all right?
Excellent.
How do we feel about episode 1? That's already in the books.
We talked about it last week. I think hard critics. We're very hard critics, I think. I think we thought it could always be worse, but it's like watching game film.
Yeah.
Never as good as you think, never as bad as you think. I thought it was pretty smooth when we came off. I watched it back. I wasn't happy with, a couple things.
I'm the worst. I am a perfectionist, so I really, and I don't like the sound of my own voice, which probably isn't great for this business, so I was trying to watch back. I did learn a little bit, though. I probably need to look at the camera just a little bit more, and like opposed to what camera I'm looking to.
Right.
So I'm going to get better at it, right? I would hope so.
That was
repetition.
My whole, when I kept getting asked this week, like, how did it go? I said, I thought it went okay, but it was the first one, so it'll be better.
This is my last weekend of freedom.
Okay.
Before my life is about to get crazy, because my work schedule, college football season and NFL football, that's when my life pretty much ends. It's 6 to 6.5 days of work every week. I usually try to squeeze in Sunday mornings to go to church with the family, kind of keep some sort of Saturday mornings. I'll get a little bit of time off, usually go for a walk with my wife, go to some of my daughter's soccer games or something like that. But pretty much from here until after the Super Bowl, it's going to be nonstop. I am getting a little getaway, though, with my wife. Going to go out to Colorado.
Hey, there you
Getting
go.
some cool weather. By the way, have you noticed there is a hurricane, and I think it's a hurricane category 5 hurricane. It's like out in the it was beelining for Florida.
Amazing.
All the models have it turning up the Atlantic Ocean, so I think everybody breathed a sigh of relief.
Right.
Have you experienced a hurricane yet?
Well,
as a Floridian?
Not a Florida hurricane.
Right.
I mean, we've had a couple in New York that
Those
did some work. We
Those
had
don't
an Andrew when I was really little that I remember doing some work, and then we had one.
Andrew was here, wasn't it? In 1990s too, or something like that.
I think we got some of it up.
You got some remnants there because it destroyed
And then
Miami.
we had one where I was in Long Island. I was helping like clean out schools. It was a real bad one.
Was that Sandy?
That was Sandy. Yeah. So Sandy crushed Long Island to the point where like we were in schools with water up to our knees, like volunteering our time to help. It was crazy. Obviously, nothing near what. Thankfully, I mean, I haven't heard. They've laid out all the plans for us since I've been down here, but thankfully I haven't had to use anything yet.
So growing up down here in South Florida, you get a little bit callous to it, which is not a good thing to do, because you'll see the reports and be like, do I really need to put up the shutters? Do I need to take all the precautions? Go get water, get the generator.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you know what happens. The big one hits, and then you're stuck with your pants down and you don't have it.
Right.
But knock on wood, it has been a while. The west coast of Florida has been the part that's been getting absolutely hammered.
Right.
But the reason I bring it up is my wife and I are flying no kids, which is a rarity for us. We get a little time off. It's like it's becoming an annual tradition. Before our life gets crazy, get a little time off. Yeah, go a little cool weather up in the mountains of Colorado. But she was kind of keeping an eye on it. She's like, do you think we should still go? And I was back to the callous part. I was like, they'll be fine. I'm like, they'll be good.
Adamant,
My mother-in-law's staying there. I'm like, she'll be fine, even though they would be panicked if anything did happen. Thankfully, it did turn up the Atlantic, so I think we're in the clear.
What I can say about you guys and me being from New York is that I've seen Georgia. I've seen like northern Florida. I mean, you guys just get a sprinkle of snow, though. It's Final Destination down here. Like, we got big rigs spinning out and cars on top of cars. I'm like, guys, there's like a half inch here.
Yeah.
So, like, the same as you're callous to the hurricanes, we're good with a couple of inches of snow up in New York with no no stress, and you guys don't do well with it.
No, not at all. But good news is that does look like it's turning. So big sigh of relief. They said it's going to be a busy hurricane season. Who knows?
When does it officially start?
Oh, I think it's already started.
I think it's too.
I think it's already started. I think August 1st till October 31st is the sweet time. So
hopefully so far so good.
Yeah, we don't want you to have to experience those.
Yeah.
All right, let's get right to it because I saw this clip from Tom Brady. He was on with Joel Klatt of Fox Sports, their lead college football analyst. And anytime the GOAT talks, I love how he talks with purpose. Every time it's very inspiring. He's obviously a great motivational speaker. He was a great leader in locker rooms. And I've honestly been very curious about what he thinks about the state of college football today. And this is the first time I've seen him asked about it. Shout out to Joel, because he put him on the spot and asked him a very poignant question, which was, if you, Tom Brady, were playing today in today's environment where we see players transferring nonstop, we see players going to secure the bag, do you think you would have started and finished your career at Michigan? Have a listen to the GOAT's answer.
It's such a hypothetical situation. The only thing I can answer is to say that based on what my experience was, I wouldn't want it any other way. My college experience was very challenging. It was very competitive. The lessons I learned in college, certainly about competition, those traits transformed my life as a professional. I was ready to compete against anybody because the competition in college toughened me up so much that I had a self-belief and self-confidence in myself that whatever I was faced, I could overcome that. And I think if we take that away from a young student athlete to say, you know what, I know it's tough to compete, but what we're going to do, before you have to compete, we're actually going to put you somewhere else so that you don't have to compete. That is absolutely the wrong thing to do.
I love this from Tom Brady. I absolutely love the comments that he has there because I think we live in this society where you have a lot of snowplow parents. You ever heard of that term?
No, I haven't.
Snowplow parents. So think about what a snowplow does. You just talking about perfect segue. You were talking about the snowstorms that exist up north. So when you get a big storm, the snowplow comes and it clears all the snow and it clears open the path. So you can drive behind it. It's smooth sailing. You don't have to get stuck. You don't have to go through the powder. You don't get stuck. So parents essentially today are working as snowplows. Every time there's an obstacle in front of their child, instead of letting the child work through it, they remove the obstacle.
Right.
So what Tom Brady's talking about, which is a great example, he had to work his way up the depth chart. He had to compete for his job. He lost out on opportunities, and he had to wait patiently for his opportunity to come. And what I think he's saying, and what I think is exactly what his words, he said he was glad that it toughened him up mentally. We have too many parents now that work as snowplow parents that take every obstacle out of their child's way as opposed to letting them work through it. And that does not do anything to develop the child as an athlete, and maybe even more importantly, as a human being, because we're all going to face obstacles eventually when you get to the real world. I know every parent thinks their child is going to be a professional athlete or a scholarship athlete, but sooner or later, you're going to have to deal with setbacks. You're going to have to deal with adversity. And if you've always had it removed from your path, you will be so ill-prepared for the real world when it comes. And we're doing our players a disservice by not at least advising them to try to stick it out. And that's what bothers me about today's environment of college players specifically. And it goes down to high school too, though. And it even goes down to youth sports. I've got a 12, 13-year-old, and I've seen parents, if they're not getting playing time, what do? They don't say, hey, work harder. They take them out and put them on another team where maybe they're guaranteed a spot.
Yeah, I've got kids that I train that have gone from public school to private school, back to public school, just because the way that, it shook out for them didn't turn out like they wanted. With Brady, man, if that clip isn't the embodiment of everything that makes this guy great, I don't know what is. You know what I like about Brady? He's like the first GOAT that's just finished in like this social media era. So he has that freedom to he's like, I've done what I've done. He understands the gravity of his voice. Like we don't hear Mike talk too much, Jordan. Right. We don't hear Wayne Gretzky talk. Tiger doesn't do it a ton. But it's so cool. I love that he's active like that. And 100%. He was behind Drew Henson, if you remember, super prospect, Brian Greasy, right? So, yeah, he had all the odds stacked against him. And we talked about this last week. I think what happens on this show, I think you could tell so much about a person based on how they react to sports. I think about it when I'm at the gym playing pickup basketball, the guys who cheat, the guys who call fake fouls, the guys who hit you when they're behind. I think 100% that I'm right on board with everything he said. It calluses you up, toughens you up. I've been through it myself as a walk-on turned scholarship player.
I hadn't heard Brady talk too much about the adversity that he had faced at Michigan until I heard him on with PBD. He had him on at the Vault 2 years ago, and they did kind of a deep dive in what was going through his mind. And he talked about meeting with the team sports psychologist and how he said you have to take advantage of every single rep. He was only getting 2 reps in practice, and how he'd take advantage of every one. He treated him like a Super Bowl. And I think that adversity helped callous his skin and develop him into a mentally tough athlete so that he was ready for his opportunity when it came. If he would have taken that easy road, let's say he would have transferred to, I don't know, a school at Florida State or a school that was guaranteed a starting position, would he have had the same mentality, the same mental fortitude? I honestly don't know. If we see the GOAT, a guy who wins 7 Super Bowls and becomes the greatest quarterback of our era, if he had been allowed to take the easy path, which a lot of parents, sadly, are having their kids take that easy path, and it's to the player's detriment. I do think it's interesting. I'm curious to know about your experience in college too, because there were definitely times when I thought about transferring. Now, the rules didn't allow it. So it was like a quick thought, and then it was, do I really want to sit out a year?
Yeah.
Do I, there wasn't money. There was no bag at the end. There wasn't a lure that was going to take me away. Because I think that is extremely challenging. And I do think it's important that Brady said that's a hypothetical that we can't even put ourselves into now. So I don't want to be completely unfair to players today. I just think they get a lot of bad advice sometimes. So I would have these conversations with my dad. And he's my best friend. He's still I go to for any time I need advice. He's somebody I've relied on my whole life. And my dad, even a couple times, he was like, he's like, if you really want to move to another school, he's like, just wait, finish out the season. You can do it after this year. My dad always encouraged me to play baseball. He just thought football was physically rough, and he didn't want to think about me getting injured. He's like, well, you could quit football and you could go play baseball, which was kind of attractive to me at the time. But I am so glad I was benched at Florida State. I threw 3 picks against the Miami Hurricanes at the Orange Bowl. It was my first real big game. I got benched. I was down in the dumps. I kind of wanted to quit. I wanted to throw in the towel in the middle of the season, walk away and be like, screw you guys. You benched me. You didn't even stick with me. It was one bad game. But my dad was like, you're going to finish it. After the season, you can come back. We can revisit this, but you're not going to make an emotional decision now. He said, go out there, earn your job back at practice, which I had to. And I think that experience helped me develop some thicker skin that helped me excel throughout the rest of my career at Florida State, helped me excel when I was benched and cut in the NFL. And it sometimes, in my case, it never meant I was going to be a GOAT or even a great or a very good franchise quarterback in the NFL, but it helped me elongate my career. Like I might have been a one and done. I might not have made the cut the first time around if I was shell-shocked from getting benched when I was at Florida State. But some of those adverse situations and fighting through them are what everybody needs to develop mentally, spiritually, physically a lot of times. All of it helps people.
And of course, my story and yours are like incredibly different, but the same sort of things happen. Like I was never coveted as a player. You know what I mean? I started playing as a senior, so I never had any opportunities to go, so I walked on. And then at that point, if I even made the decision, like I'm not playing after my first season, I'm going to go somewhere else. There was nowhere else. So that's sort of where it came from. Like, listen, it's going to be here. It's going to be nowhere. And I love the game so much. I just refuse to allow anything to happen. I didn't have the career you had. I spent a cup of coffee in the league, and that was it for me there. But all the things that I encountered from then on, I've taken into my real life. Like I'm a grown-up now, and all the things that made me, it was having to fight every day to get that scholarship because my family couldn't afford to keep me there. We were welfare food stamps people. So it was bad. It was like my mom said, you guys got a little bit of time. After that, it's we're gonna have to figure this out. My school was expensive. I went there, I got my ass kicked for a year. I earned a full scholarship for 4. I didn't make a big impact. I caught 25 balls as a senior. I continued to get better because I always had like a weird, absurd belief in myself. And all the things that I guess I didn't realize I wasn't very good at the time. I just thought I could do anything. And all that stuff still carries with me today, man. It's about just overcome adversity. Like don't let anybody else tell me what my boundaries are, what I can do. So it's all the same thing. Yeah, I've been hit over and over and over again. I broke my leg when I was making some noise with the Panthers in camp, right? Then I opened a business by myself, and I had we butted heads with some of my partners. It didn't turn out great for me, and again, just over and over and over. And it's the things that I'll say it till this day. It's the things that happened to me along the way in athletics, which I did from 4 to 28, that, made me the man that I am today.
You know what I learned? Because I was quite different than you.
Mm-hmm.
I was the number one prospect coming out of high school.
Yep.
I was inserted in the starting role pretty soon before I got that benching time. You know what I learned up to that point? Nothing.
Probably minimum. Yeah.
Nothing.
Right.
I thought it was easy.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, I'm really good at this.
Yeah.
I could just show up. And that was a rude awakening for me because I had to learn what work was really like.
Uh-huh.
And then even when I got to the NFL, I thought I knew what it took to be a franchise quarterback. And I was kind of given that job. I was I was in a great situation, getting drafted in the 4th round, becoming a starter in year 2.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready for it.
I
and
used to
I still
watch you there
didn't go
too.
through enough.
I'm
man, I'm sorry.
No, it was great. I loved it. This is a cool,
It was that
full
offense
circle thing for me.
set us back a long ways.
Yeah, well.
It was not pretty.
Well, no, I think I agree with you 100%, and I think that's a huge thing to be able to just kind of understand that. Like I had this weird. I'm telling you, it probably hurt me. Like I thought after college I was ready, and I was 26 catches as a senior at a small school. If a team would have been crazy enough to bring me in, I'd have been cut before my first warm-up. Then I got to play arena for a year, and I went down to IMG, and I developed a little bit with great coaching and better players. And then I was a fringe guy, and I didn't stay long, but I didn't get thrown home the first day. But yeah, same thing with you. You probably thought you were good to go, and you weren't, but that's what I felt too. But you notice it after as you get older and things start to take a clearer picture for you.
So just to hammer the point home, because I actually, the genesis of this conversation actually came from a much lesser known source. There's a coach at Northern Illinois. He's the head football coach. His name's Thomas Hammock. Now, he beat last year as the head coach of Northern Illinois, went into Notre Dame, and his team beat the Fighting Irish as a 3-touchdown underdog. They were not supposed to win. So he kind of got a little bit of notoriety then. But he's a MAC coach. Like, he doesn't get a lot of love. But he was asked about the portal because a lot of his players get plucked from his roster. Once they flash, they go to the bigger schools. Here he is talking about what he learned as a college athlete.
I enjoyed my college experience. I didn't get one dime, but the lessons I learned was more valuable than any money you can ever pay me. And I appreciate that because that is long term. People are losing the fact that this is short term. I coached in the National Football League for 5 years. 5 years, right? Don't lose focus of what the long term. Get your degree, learn valuable lessons that's going to help you in the long term of your life. That's the whole purpose. This is a transition from being a kid to a grown.
Amen, Thomas Hammock. Now, I get on my soapbox on these types of topics because I think we've lost our way in a lot of the advice that we're giving young athletes and the things we're prioritizing. It is all about securing the bag. The minute you're in high school, honestly, the players are looking at what university is going to offer me the most money. And when they're in college, it's where can I go to get the biggest bag? And what Thomas Hammock is talking about, make sure you don't lose sight of the overall big picture, which is to get a degree, which is to learn some of those valuable life lessons through adversity, to make sure that you're not taking the quick bag because it might come at the expense of a much bigger bag if you don't go through the process. Too many people want to skip a step. They want to take the easy way out, and they're prioritizing getting the money. And I know, and a lot of people, I put this out there, and it was out there, it was kind of going viral this week, and I saw a lot of people say, "Oh, it's easy for you to say, Coach. You've made money. You're making a lot of money." He makes probably high 6 figures, probably just under $1 million to be the head coach in Northern Illinois. And it's easy, and people take their shots at him. I still think the message remains clear, and I love that he said from his experience what he learned, what you could not put a price tag on it. And I think too many times we lose fact of the lessons learned and just go to chase the bag.
Yeah, I think that's why I'm so one day I flip-flop a lot on the NIL stuff because like I said, when I got in there, it was $50K in the hole 1 year. I'm working a job on campus, and all I wanted was that scholarship. So when I got the scholarship, it was a massive weight lifted off my shoulders. So now I sometimes when I got that scholarship, I can't tell you the relief it was to know that my food was taken care of, to know that my books were taken care of. I'm telling you, man, I used to find rooms to sleep in on campus to be at off-season workouts. Once I didn't have to worry about that anymore and could morely focus on football, it was a huge relief for me. So it's hard for me to now be like, listen, I need that and 100K. But, that's part of the game. So obviously, as I'm getting older, I start to sound like that old man. You know what I mean?
I'm already there. I'm yelling from the porch.
But then I tell my athletes today, like, you don't realize, man, it's things like it's rooms that I was in at Hofstra, like people that I met there that I can reach back out to today. So you may not see that right now. It didn't turn into $100,000 at Hofstra, but now it's the people that I know and the relationships I have that I can call someone in communications and get myself a studio to practice this and hopefully turn it into a life. It's things like that you don't realize at the time. There are so many invaluable things, and it's true. It's the lessons I learned. I don't know how I would be if I went in there as a 5-star prospect because all I know is grind. It's my proudest thing if you hear about my old teammates or old coaches saying, when they'll see me now with family or friends or my fiance or my athletes that I train, and they'll come in and speak and say, you have no idea how hard that kid worked for everything he had. It means as much or more to me than I think a $50,000 check would have after a big game. Obviously I don't know, but that's
Right.
how I feel.
I love it. All right. Let's get some of these topics because I know you wanted to weigh in on one. A week ago, we were talking about UFC, the big deal that Dana White signed with Paramount Plus and the 7-year, $7.7 billion deal. And there just so happened to be a big UFC event, 319 this past weekend that I know you were fired up about.
Super fired up. Yeah, I was super fired up because this guy, Khamzat Chimaev, and I know his name it's a tough one to say, but it's been on
That's why I let you say it.
But well, it's a tough one to say, but it's been on the tip of everybody's tongue the last week, right? So if you remember Khamzat Chimaev during the COVID pandemic, the UFC was forced to be on a place called Fight Island. They were the first people to come back and deliver live sports again. And this maniac came on the scene, and he fought about 3 times in like a month and a half, and he was just steamrolling guys. So everyone was saying, Khamzat is going to be the future, Khamzat is the present, blah, blah, blah. So take it back now, we're 3, 4, 5 years later, and Khamzat's career, I wouldn't say derailed, but he's dealt with so many different injuries and sicknesses and blah, blah, blah. But this was finally his chance, and he had a world championship fight against Dricus du Plessis, who was like a South African champion who hadn't really run into a ton of adversity in his time. He's been rolling through people. He's in his prime, and everyone was real excited to see how the fight went. And if you saw the fight, Danny, I'm talking like as lopsided a main event as you could ever imagine. I mean, I guess other than Conor and 13 seconds with Aldo, where it really wasn't much of a fight, this was, a massacre. It was a murder scene, man. It was terrible to see. And I just couldn't believe the dominance. And it got me to thinking, like, Khamzat Chimaev continues that legacy. Everybody knows Khabib now, right? Everybody's starting to learn about Islam, and Islam is one of Khabib's proteges, right? And I wanted to talk to you about, like, that part of the world and just how dominant they are at this wrestling and ground and grappling component, and how it's just led so many of them in such a small area to be world champions. And it got me to thinking about their training versus our training. Now, what we call training, and if you hear these guys talk, it's like Daniel Cormier, who's a UFC, he's royalty. He coaches at Gilroy High School, right? And he's really cool with Khabib and Islam from their time at AKA. It's their training camp. And Islam's got this really funny clip where he's like, drop your kids off in Dagestan, give them 2 or 3 years, and come back. DC's like, what are you talking about, bro? What planet are you on? But like, he dropped his kids in there for like 3 months over a summer or something. And they came back in Dagestan. And when I say his kids, I mean his team.
Right.
And they came back like, Coach, we practice here. They train there. I mean, it's 3 times a day. It's the diet. It's the wiping the mats down. It's the sleep regimen. It's the lifting. It's everything, man. And it just got me to thinking like how different our training is and how our athletes might get dropped. It's the same with European soccer, right? Or South American soccer. We drop them in there. It's just completely different. You know what I mean? The kids, and it brings us back to the same thing. How do the kids these days handle uncomfortability versus how they do it elsewhere, you know?
Do you think they have Snapchat in Dagestan? Do you think they have TikTok?
I
Do you think
do
they
not.
have so I'm embarrassed to admit this. My daughter, who's 12, she just turned 13.
Okay.
She was at volleyball camp.
Gotcha.
I got a text at 11 o'clock. It said, Dad, can you Uber Eats me some raw juice, like an acai bowl.
Okay.
And I was like,
Oh, don't do it, Dan.
she's 12. I said, there is no chance. I'm like, stop asking. I'm like, you are not getting that. Mom packed her like a little sandwich.
Okay.
But the mindset to even ask that, I think is a big problem. And I'm already like, that was a red flag for me. I'm like, we got to nip this in the bud, like quicker, like sooner rather than later. So I had a little talk with her. Like, do you understand how expensive that is? How like, privileged that is to have that type of service. Like, what are we thinking, really? And she actually works really hard, but I do think there are so many luxuries in the United States that we take advantage or we take for granted. And in Dagestan, they're just probably thrilled to get to train 3 times a day because it's you probably get treated really good as an athlete there. And it's a way out potentially and a way to a better life, where here, I think there's a lot like, you know, you can be an influencer, or you can like. It's a lot easier to be lazy in the U.S. than it is anywhere in the world. We have so many luxuries.
Well, first thing, I thought when you said you're talking about, I thought you were going to tell me you didn't know what Uber Eats was first, because you almost prefaced
I knew what it was.
Like, oh, come on.
And that's what concerned me.
And that's what, I mean, that goes back to what like Patrick and them were talking about on the pod. Like, what is a good age for this technology? What is a good age to give these kids access to something that's going to potentially take their attention away from this or take their focus away from that? And it's 100%, man. I went out to dinner this weekend, and you see families of kids with iPads and iPhones, and yeah, man, it's like a joy. Like I really do think I grew up in the best generation, man, because I got a little bit of the beginning of social media and Facebook and IG and all that, but I still got that work ethic where like nothing can replace getting up early, being the first one here, you know, working my butt off. And you're 100% right. Man, we are so absurdly privileged, we don't even realize it. And it isn't until you go somewhere else. And a lot of times you see that with the guys who come over here from elsewhere. Again, I talk about it a lot because it was a big part of my journey was IMG academies. And you see kids who they'd bring over from like India who didn't have shoes that fit. And we would give them our cleats like after the first couple of weeks. And to us, it was nothing. We just asked for a new pair of cleats. And these kids made it like it was just the greatest thing they'd ever seen. And yes, we are so incredibly privileged here that we don't even realize it. And that goes because you don't know it until you live it. Like I grew up with very little, and I didn't realize what was out there until I got to spend time around people with more. And it's, you know, that's what it is. You don't realize it until you're, you know, exposed to it.
No, you don't at all. I want to say something, but it's so outlandish and so over the top that it's just almost to make a point.
Cover your ears, guys. Go ahead.
I think you'd be better off having your kids smoke cigarettes than give them a cell phone. Like, or like having them like, it is so addicting.
It is.
And I do think, much like we found out much later, the damage that tobacco was doing, we are just on the tip of the iceberg of finding out how much damage we're doing to our youth. And we're trying. So again, I've got an 18, I've got a 16, I've got a 13-year-old, all girls. And my 8, we thought we waited as long, like we were the last ones. We heard that a zillion. I'm the only one without a phone. And so we eventually, like when they were 14, which was pretty late, we gave them the phone. But I
think that's a great age, by the way.
I would say 16 is safer.
Is it
like
possible,
with my 13-year-old, I'm going to make it
possible?
possible.
Well,
I don't care. Because that's the problem, is that a lot of people push back with that. And it is hard because they need a phone to get to practice.
Yes.
What time is my practice in the group chat, or what uniforms are wearing?
That's the thing.
Group
you
chat.
Think about, are you hindering your 14-year-old social component? You know what I mean? It's a crazy
Who
thing.
cares?
Things that you
I'll
have to
sacrifice the social component. I don't care if they're a nerd. They'll be more healthy and mentally balanced.
We were talking about it the other day. I'm expecting my first.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't think a phone's going to be the thing. I think it's going to end up being like one of those watches where you could just like press call dad, and that's going to be about it.
Yeah.
For like what
they have
you're
those,
allowed.
by the way, which I would
know.
definitely
I've done research
recommend.
already. Trust
Yes.
me. Yeah. But I guess, it's a matter of which addiction is the worst, right? Is it the nicotine and the carcinogens, or is it this zombie making tablet and social media, man? And I think a lot of times you see on social media, like, what's the one thing you can eliminate from the world and make it better instantly? And my instant snap judgment is always not tech, but social media.
Yeah.
As great as it is that it connects the world, I do think it's a massive hindrance to like people growing and speaking. And dude, just the ability to converse with people has been just hindered so much amongst people.
Have you ever given up social media or your cell phone for an extended period of time?
I was really late to the game. So like for the beginning of I didn't touch social media until I got to playing. Like when I was playing, like I was nobody at that level. But my agent would tell me, Chris, you got to grow your profile a little bit. So I started a Twitter when I was 23.
Right.
That was the first. I never had Facebook in college. But it was just, it's one of those things, like if I never had it, it didn't bother me to lose it.
Right.
But now and now
because I'm addicted now. Like I'm saying all this and saying how critical it is for my kids.
But
I'm
your job
addicted to it.
almost forces you to it, right?
That's the issue. Because my wife, I've talked to her about it. I wanted to go to a flip phone for like a couple months just to get rid of it out of my hand constantly. You see it when you're on an elevator. People don't know what to do, so they look at their phone.
Right.
Anytime you're in line at a restaurant, people look at their phone. You don't like have any interaction, and it drives me nuts. And yet I haven't stepped up and done it.
And bro, it's even to driving. Like it's incredible. If you stopped and looked into 50 cars, I'm not joking, 35 of them, people are on their phones nowadays. It's so crazy. And I get yelled at it all the time because I'm talking a lot right now, but I'm the same.
It is
but
scary.
it could be anything from the phone's buzzing with a text or my GPS. So I got to do better myself. But yeah, dude, it's absolutely a thing. It is getting crazy out there.
All right, I mentioned Lakers fans getting a little bit stressed out from what they saw from their newly minted extension superstar athlete, Luka Dončić, one of the best players out there. He's slimmed down. They were all excited getting him locked in.
How good he looks, man.
He does. I mean, he looks
great.
ripped. He's got a nice
Tan,
little chisel. The body fat
tan,
percentage
nice
is
fade.
down. Yeah.
Yeah.
The only problem is when he's playing in this Eurobasket exhibition game, he goes down in a heap, and I think he had left the game. It was a knee injury. I mean, this is a nightmare scenario if you're a Lakers fan.
Right.
Here's a little highlight of the play. He's going down. It's by the basket. You see him go down in a heap. I don't know what the announcers are saying because they're in another language. But it's nasty. Like somebody comes, rolls up his knee. It does not look good.
Yeah. Potential for it to be really bad.
Here is my question for you, Chris Manno.
What do you got?
Why on earth is he playing in the Eurobasket exhibition? Can I ask you that question?
Danny, my man, this is an easy one for me. Now, granted, I've only spent a couple of seconds in an NFL jersey, but I think, like I say this because, and it just happened as recently as this weekend, I watched the females play in the World Championship flag football.
Yeah.
And I see them with USA across the chest, dude. And I say all the time, man, if I had to make a choice, the 4 games that I have the NFL jersey on or USA across my chest, man, I'm telling you, call me a geek. I think I would probably wear the stars and bars, man. It means so much to me. Like I kick around the idea of trying to make a run for it now because it's so important. And to these guys, and this has been for the longest time, like our superstars here, they had to be like coaxed into playing the last Olympics. But if you remember, for like 15 years before that, we couldn't get our best players to play. So it's a sense of country and national pride that they have in other countries that we don't have here. And I'm telling you, man, let me ask you, if the Olympics were a thing when you were, granted, obviously the NFL changed your life. It gave your family a future. But let's say you had a career like mine where you knew it was going to be a short-term thing, like how long can I be here? And I told you, bro, you can go win a gold medal with USA across your chest. Dude, you're a patriot. I know you.
I love our country. We live in the best country on the planet.
But that's why I think
this isn't track. This isn't track and field. This isn't swimming. It's because in those stages, those are the biggest stage for that sport. What is the biggest stage in the world for basketball? It's the NBA.
Okay.
What is the biggest stage in the world for football? It's the National Football League.
Hey,
you want to play, and then I get you want to represent your country, but your country's not paying you $165 million over the next 3 years.
But that goes back to what we were just talking about, right? Different priorities in different parts of the world, man. To the kids in Dagestan, the biggest thing is winning a medal as a Russian. To someone like me, you and me over here, maybe it's a $160 million contract. To a kid from Slovenia like Luka, who goes home and he's a god. I don't know, man. I don't know. Different priorities in different places, but again, yeah, I totally.
All right, so here's my pushback, not necessarily to you, but to every NBA player. What is the constant theme we've heard over the past 15 years? The more that we've got more medical information at our disposal, it's the 82-game schedule.
Totally.
We can't play 82 games, and we need time off. And you see players taking off 10 to 15 games a year.
Embarrassing.
If you want to tell me about load management, how about you rest in the offseason and you don't play for your team in an exhibition game? And I don't even know if Luka's complained about that. I do think that's more of an American player thing that they've complained more, even though MJ played almost 81 or 82 every single year. Do not ever complain about load management if you're going to play over there in Europe and you're going to play extra in the offseason. Same thing. You know what else I see go viral all the time? I see him playing at whatever gym it is in Manhattan, these pickup games that go
Lifetime
viral.
Sky Club, yeah.
The Lifetime Sky Club.
Yeah.
I see all these videos go viral, and they're playing full speed. They're going up and down the court.
Right.
Don't tell me about load management because that is your job.
Okay.
And if you have every right to do that. If you want to do that, by all means, go ahead. But don't take off from your job to go play for fun in the offseason and expect that there's going to be no repercussions from it.
All right, so Danny Kanell, national media personality. If Luka Dončić comes out for the Lakers and he's 15 pounds heavier, and his first 15 games, he looks like he's rounding back into shape because he didn't take the preseason seriously, and he's getting 18 a game instead of the 27 that you're accustomed to, do you not get on him and say, what the frig was Luka doing in the offseason?
Yeah, but you're supposed to train. You're supposed to get yourself ready
Can
to
you
play.
simulate an NBA action in a Lifetime Sky or in a LA Fitness or something like that?
No, you cannot replicate it.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I see it from both sides.
Like, this is a game. This Eurobasket. Like, we don't even see NFL players playing the preseason of their own sport. Same with the NBA. They play very sparingly. So he's going to go over these international competitions and light it up. Giannis also made some headlines. I don't know if we have the highlight of him slapping some dude upside the head, but we do have a little Nikola Jokic, another NBA great. And this goes about where your priorities are, right?
It does.
Because it is clear as day. He is more passionate about his horses and his horse racing team than he is about the NBA titles that he's won. We got a little clip. Harness racing.
Incredible. There
he is bawling.
Yeah, my man is emotional right now.
He's bawling. I mean, this is like a lifetime achievement. He's like sobbing. He jumps over to go give the hug. I mean,
we're talking like boogers down the face, tears down his Yes,
wow. I mean, sobbing. This is kind of similar to when MJ won the title without his dad, and he's in a heap and he can't even breathe.
Oh man, look at
He's going nuts.
Yeah, that's
and
crazy.
if you watched him when he won the title with the Nuggets, it was like, when's my flight home?
Yes.
Even in the locker room, he didn't celebrate this much with his own teammates.
I actually remember that they were killing Jokic, because he's on record saying like, oh, I can't wait to he won. So let's say he won the title on a Thursday. He was already booked for a flight on Friday, forgetting that they have like a parade. And he goes, no, I'm not staying 2 more days. I'm not staying 3 more days. I'm going home. Like, this to Joker meant very, very little, that NBA championship. But look, we all know, and you and I have spoken about this before, guys who it just comes easy to. It's not the most important thing to them. Do you know? I'm sure you could think of one off the top of your head that everybody's familiar with, that you're like, wow, he is so blessed and so naturally gifted at this. Why doesn't it mean more to him? I think immediately, and I could be wrong because I don't know him personally, I think of Ricky Williams, a guy who I thought was just so otherworldly good, best running back on the planet, and he was just like, weed's awesome, man.
Yeah.
It's more important to me than millions and just 5 more years. All you had to do was push it off. But I don't know him personally, but who can you think of?
I mean, I'll give you one right now that's playing. Aaron Rodgers. He's been clear that life is more than the Super Bowls. It's more than the $50 or $60 million, whatever he's making. It's about connecting with your inner being. I mean, he's on a search right now to find himself, which I can appreciate. But I would say overall, I think people would be astounded at how many NFL players view it as a job.
That's it.
As opposed to a passion, and
100%.
they have to win the Super Bowl. I think the rare breeds are the guys that truly are great. Guys like Tom Brady, guys like Peyton Manning,
Intrinsically
like Drew Brees.
motivated.
Intrinsically motivated, no matter how much money you make, no matter how many accolades, no matter how much fame, you're on to the next one. You don't want to win one Super Bowl. You want to win multiple Super Bowls. I would put the number 70 to 80% of NFL players.
Yeah.
It's a job.
And then you hear,
and if you lose, my paycheck is coming in. I want to play, I want to keep playing, but I just want to make sure I get that paycheck. And the minute that they would not play for free. Jokic, he's going to do that for free.
Yeah.
He's going to be out there helping his horse racing team for free. I don't know if he's doing that in the NBA.
Well, that's what I was going to say, right? All the people in regular life, the average Joes who say, get back out there. You don't love it enough. It's like when guys hold out. When guys hold out for a new contract, the guys at home say, dude, you're making $25 million a year. How on earth can you be holding out when one of their counterparts that they think they're as good as is making 40? You say, I don't understand this. I would play for nothing if you let me put the pads on. So yeah, it's an interesting topic, but I always thought that's a lot higher than I had imagined. Even my short time there, I mean, That's how, but like I said, you're totally right about it's the Kobes, it's the Mikes, it's the Bradys, it's the Tigers who have achieved everything you can possibly achieve and still get up with that same fire, still beat guys to the gym, still take that
Here's
off-season.
how I came up with that number, because I'm trying to put myself back, and it's been a long time.
That's 8 out of 10 players, man.
I know. You can tell how much somebody cares after a loss.
Agreed. That's a great
point.
point.
And the amount of players, and this is the difference for me in college and the NFL.
Right.
When we lost a game in college at Florida State, granted, we didn't lose very many games. It was a morgue in the locker room. It was deathly silent. And the week kind of had this cloud over it where everybody was kind of had to get in a good mood. You kind of bring the energy back.
Mm-hmm.
The amount of guys after a loss in the NFL locker room, like, all right, where are we going tonight?
100. You know what?
Where are we
That's
going?
a phenomenal
And
point.
that to me is where I kind of get that number, which probably is high. It's not to say that they don't care at all. Like, they're trying on the field, but it's still a job. I still punched in. It might not have been a great day at work, but it was still an okay day. And it's not like it was the worst day ever if you lost. Where a lot like those guys, the Brady, the greats, that was the worst day ever if they lost.
You're going to probably notice a theme on here. I totally respect him as an athlete. He's better than I could ever dream of being. He's absolutely phenomenal. He's in the top %, and that's LeBron, though. And I think I'm going to get on him a lot on here because, unfortunately, I'm sorry, I'm not.
You're a hater.
I'm a hater.
It's all good.
I'm a hater. But do you remember when they asked LeBron, like when he just got ousted from the finals, and he basically said, like, well, at the end of the day, tomorrow, I'm still going to be rich, and you're still going to be poor. And I was like, oh,
that was so out of touch.
Brutal answer, dude.
But it's the truth. You get the real version of what he really thinks.
Yeah, for sure. And I honestly, man, I didn't even think about that like pre-show when we were talking. That's a phenomenal point. And do you think anything like about the culture again today where guys have to make appearances and guys are getting back to they still get, if they made 2 or 3 great plays, they get back to their locker and they see it on Twitter. Odell Beckham made a crazy one-handed catch. He's got 500 texts telling him how wonderful he is. I'm sure that's a big part of why also it's hard to be so down when you're getting so much praise heaped on you either way, right?
Like anything in our society, so much is about the individual and not about the team. Whether the team is a Super Bowl team, trying to compete, whether it's a team at work, a company that you work for, whether it's whatever environment you're in, too many people are just out for their own back. Mm-hmm. And that's human nature to do that. And I think a lot of our society kind of preaches that now. You got to look out for you first, which it is harsh and it's a reality. And sometimes you do.
Right.
But the guys that kind of embrace the team aspect of it, that are willing to look at it and say, man, I want to go all in because I want to make this team great. Those are the ones that are special.
How many of those can you think of? I think Brady was always like that.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Brady was
Peyton
always
Manning,
spending a lot of time with the guys.
There was a guy I played with, Rod Smith, was a wide receiver for the Broncos.
Stud.
He was an undrafted free agent.
Yep.
He was one of the fiercest competitors I ever played with. Okay. He loved it, and he hated to lose.
Yeah.
He hated to lose.
And he turned into like a borderline Hall of Fame player, too.
Yeah, he was phenomenal. And John Lynch, another one, a guy I played with in Denver as well, another teammate, hated to lose.
Okay.
That's the way I would judge a guy, like how much do you really care? How much do you hate to lose?
And growing up,
because everybody loves winning. You get a lot of attention,
That's a big question they ask a lot of people. Like, what do you hate? Do you love winning more or do you hate losing more? And I think that's a telling question. You hear a lot of people say.
I try to teach my kids because they'll get upset. They'll say, I played bad.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, did your team win? And if they won and they're upset, I'm like, why are you upset? Your team won. Like, that's the ultimate goal, is that the team won. I get you want to do better,
right?
But enjoy the team's success. Sure. And then sometimes on the flip side, oh, you might have played pretty good, but your team lost. Why are you happy?
Yeah.
Your team lost.
Yeah, I understand both sides. There's a guy who gets a lot of heat that I spent a little time around, was Cam. Obviously, Cam Newton. He's got one of the best quotes. I'm sure it's not one of his quotes, but he said, show me a good loser and I'll show you a loser.
Yep.
And I love that quote because I'm the same way, man. I mean, let's be real. Again, you said it. It's human nature. If I go off for 3 touchdowns and 150, I feel great about myself. It makes it a lot harder to be as pissed. But yeah, man, you could tell a lot from that bus ride or that plane ride and how happy people are by the time we get back to the locker room. That's a great point.
No doubt about it. We did have some breaking news today. Last week we were on the show. We talked about Shedeur Sanders, his performance in the preseason game, how it was kind of overhyped, overblown. It was good, but the amount of conversation that was spent on it was completely over the top. And I think maybe this is one of the reasons Kevin Stefanski, their head coach, came out today. He said, Joe Flacco is our starter. That was a pretty big news item, but it wasn't what made waves over the weekend. Dillon Gabriel, who was the 3rd-round pick, and Shedeur was the 5th-round pick, who actually played this past weekend. He played okay. He did have a pick 6. It wasn't great. It was a questionable play by his receiver, kind of pulled his hands back. Wasn't all on him. He played okay. He was interviewed, and there was a edited clip of Dillon Gabriel that went after that had Twitter and X, the same thing, all up in arms. Here it is. Have a listen.
It's just part of it. You know, there's entertainers and there's competitors, and I totally understand that. And my job is to compete, and that's what I'm focused on doing.
So you sent me this clip because I didn't see it, and you saw it. And you sent it to us, and everybody in our chat, in our Valuetainment chat here, was like, "Oh my gosh, what is he like? How could he do this?"
Well, almost everybody. We do have a Clevelander, our boy Malik. Shout Malik, and Malik was immediately trying to keep the locker room together. He was telling us right away. He said there was a 3-minute clip here. They totally took this out of context, and they made Dillon Gabriel look significantly worse than what he said. Blah blah blah.
Which Malik is right.
Malik is definitely right, and they've made that clip infinitely harder to find online. So if you could find it, shoot it to us. We would love to see it.
I think Julius found it.
Did he find it?
I think he found the longer one.
Jewel,
can
did you
the
find
intro. It? I think so.
Oh, amazing.
I think we got the longer one.
I do have a question for you after this, though, so let me hold that thought. Go ahead. Let's play it.
Immediately, the way you're talking to your wide receivers, your running backs, why is that such an important part of who you are in your game?
Yeah, you got to talk. You know, a quarterback's got to talk to each other, you know, his teammates. It's part of the position, but it's also just who I am down to my core. Want to do it with people that I genuinely like and have fun doing it with. So
it's a completely different interview, dude.
Yeah.
We're growing
Holy cow.
Still, you know, just a short amount of time together, but we're trying to grow that up.
You tune out the noise and you don't let it infiltrate yourself. Will you share that with everybody at home?
Yeah, I think it's just part of it. You know, there's entertainers and there's competitors. And I
good
totally
find,
understand
guys.
that.
Good find.
My job is to compete, and that's what I'm focused on doing. Of course, we're doing this mid-game, but you know, it's something that I'll get used to, and just want to be the best team that I can.
So when
create an environment where we can all go do our best work.
When this started going viral, I was genuinely stunned because I didn't get the full context. I got the little clip. I've interviewed him several times.
Right? Okay.
Yeah. He is as nice, humble, like the good teammate, the guy who says all the right things. It was totally out of character. But I do think this speaks to what I was talking about last week with you, is that Tebow effect. Like if that's another team and he's competing with anybody else, it doesn't go viral. Even if they clip it like that, no one's going to notice. No one's going to care. But because he's in this competition with Shedeur, it blows up like wildfire.
And it's crazy, too, because Shedeur's not like the 3 or the 2 either.
No.
You're 100% right. He's just a lightning rod, man. He's somebody people want to talk about. His pop keeps it, that the name is always on the tip of the tongue. What the whole thing got me thinking about, and I know they're also running now like a documentary on the 4 quarterbacks, so you really can't get away from it. And that got me to thinking you have a super unique perspective on something that I was questioning when we were putting this together. So as a wide receiver, we had probably 8 of us in a room, 7 of us in a room, and everybody was real cool. And it was much easier to be real cool because we knew 4 of us were going to get burned this week. So how did you guys deal with a locker room like that when there's 4 guys in there, everybody's busting their ass the same? Let's be real, guys. It is the hardest position in sports. You're responsible for an entire city at first. Then you're responsible for everybody's calls and positioning and adjustments, and you're a coach on the field. How do you guys do that? Is there weird when one of you play and all 4 of you are got to be cool?
I've been in good quarterback rooms and I've been in bad quarterback rooms. And I think it's similar to anybody's walk of life. If you've been at a job and you might be in the same department, when maybe you're competing for commissions, you're competing for the same customers, whatever it is, when there's a competition, it can get cutthroat.
Yeah, for sure.
The best quarterback rooms that I was in were the ones where the roles were very clearly defined. And a lot of times that was by money, like how much money you're making. But there was also an established starter. And I really only had the back end of my career. I was the backup. And I felt like Jake Plummer was the starter, was very clear. And I was really good friends with him. We got along great. We hung out. We played golf all the time together. But I was also very comfortable being the backup, which was great for Jake. And it probably wasn't great for me and the perception of me, because what we were talking about earlier, like I was kind of happy to make a paycheck. Like, I don't have to play. I don't have to get krilled out there.
Some say best position in sports.
And that's not a lie. The 3rd string might be best because then you don't do anything. You don't have to get ready.
You just run scout team.
But like that relationship was really healthy. I was very supportive. I was like another coach for him. I thought I helped him in those positions. And it was pretty clearly defined what our roles were. The ones where it gets tricky, I stepped into an environment my rookie year. I was kind of a surprise draft pick from the New York Giants. I'd fallen to the 4th round. Dan Reeves didn't even want me. It was a George Young pick, so he kind of went around me. And it was Dave Brown was the starter.
Right.
Tommy Maddox was a veteran backup. Stan White was another guy who was younger, maybe 2nd or 3rd league from Auburn.
Okay.
And it was me. And Dave Brown wasn't super secure in his job yet.
Of course not.
I was kind of this hot name to come out of college, this kind of punk that comes in. Tommy Maddox is fighting for a spot. It was just, and I don't want to say, to call it, what's the word? Toxic is too strong a word. There was just a tension that was there where it wasn't too comfortable.
And then you hear, as recently as a couple years ago, didn't Johnny Football talk about how Brian Hoyer was with him?
Oh, yeah.
What do you think is the role of if I'm a veteran starter and they're bringing in my de facto replacement? Like,
right.
I saw Aaron Rodgers do it with Zach Wilson, and he embraced it. Like, how important
even more so because he didn't embrace Jordan Love, and Brett Favre didn't embrace him.
Well, I actually heard the opposite. I thought what the story was Brett Favre didn't embrace me, and for that reason, I'm going to embrace Jordan Love. So Jordan Love only says good things about him.
Right.
What do you think is what do you think is like the balance there? Is it your job as a veteran to get this kid, at least treat him good and show him the ropes, right? Don't you have to leave the game better than you found it?
My nature as a human being would be to help somebody.
Yeah.
And if he beats me out, then it wasn't meant to be.
Right.
Now, I think I'm a little bit different. A lot of guys
Definitely
are very
different.
territorial.
Yeah, you're definitely different.
And it depends on if you're 40 and you've played, are you really worried?
Yeah.
And you kind of do know the end is near. And you don't want to have them just supplant you.
Right.
But I think where it gets tricky is when you have guys in the same parts of their career.
Right. Generation.
And they're like, but when you get a whole generation apart, it's a lot easier.
Yeah.
But it is a cutthroat league, and a lot of guys will not relinquish it. Even Flacco was pretty open, and I appreciated his transparency. They drafted 2 guys for the Browns, and he was like, it's not my job to mentor them, but they can watch me. They can ask me questions, and I think that's the job of the rookie is to watch and learn like a sponge, absorb everything, ask them what they're doing. Right. And most guys are going to be, sure, I'll tell you when I'm watching on film. They're not going to hold back and be a complete jerk to you. I just think sometimes we overblow that. It does happen organically most of the time, as long as you're a good guy. And I think if you know your role as the backup, if you're helping him and trying to help him with whatever he needs as the starter, then I think it kind of works both ways. You might say, hey, can you keep an eye on that, see what type of leverage that corner has? But I might not see him. Can you keep an eye on this for me? And if you do those things, it'll all be healthy.
And I think that's another one of those things we talk at where sport just mirrors life. I think it's anything, right? Go in there, be respectful, understand your role, be positive, bring good energy to the room. Don't be a jerk.
Right.
And generally that's how things work
competition
out.
ultimately elevates everybody. So if you've got a young draft pick that's pushing you, it's probably making you better.
Yeah.
So I think that can be a healthy situation.
And sports is one of the only places where everybody else sees it too. Like everybody in the locker room knows who the best guy is. So it should generally be like, it'll sort itself out.
All right, what we need more of? We'll finish the show with this because I don't know if we start kids young enough. We need to mic up more 6-year-olds. That's what we need to do. That's what they're doing out there, which I can't believe this is actually a thing. And my man has got some game, and he's got a little trash talk too. This is a 6-year-old mic'd up. This is thoroughly entertaining. Have a listen. And I'm guessing this is in Florida. It's either Florida or Texas.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to narrow it down to those two.
That's fair.
Have a listen to my man mic'd up.
Put a mic in my bag, bro. Put a mic. Yeah, feel it. I'm getting mic'd up.
I love that they have first names on the back of their jerseys.
Oh, me too. This is just like NFL players. They're warning everybody. Don't say anything too bad. Ooh.
And then you see him step over him like Iverson?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, my gosh.
Look at the wheels.
Hey, adults, if you don't think kids are sponges, have a watch.
Yeah, they're imitating all their favorite players.
Everything they see.
And some of the worst stuff.
I like to know you. I'm a straight rider.
Singing along, bouncing it, just running over
Look at
dudes.
this guy. Yep. That helmet looks huge on Ryder, too.
Do you know that cartoon with the alien with the big helmet? I forget what it was.
Hold on. Keep watching. Is this the part?
Right here, the stick. Huh.
Yeah, this kid is a sideline to sideline kid, though.
Say hi.
Get out of my way. He said, move. Let me get to the outside.
Hey, can we please air the end zone dance, guys?
Oh, that's
Please
the other
find
video.
the end zone dance.
That's
and air
the other
that end zone
video.
dance. Dude, this kid is Reggie Bush. Oh, my.
Yeah, he's just running all over this kid. This kid's probably got 50 scholarships already.
Oh, my gosh. He's got 400 yards this game.
Look at the scoreboard.
Yeah, that's right.
Look at the scoreboard, buddy.
Look at the scoreboard, buddy, he says.
Oh, they're already talking trash. So you want to see the last one? This is 5-year-old. So this is definitely Florida. You see the Florida. How about the celebration here?
Yeah, let's see this.
That's a pretty good touchdown
This
run,
kid's
too.
got some getaway
About a
speed, though.
60-yard
Bad
run.
angle, though. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
He really is flying.
Gets in the end zone.
And down. Up. There it is. Yep.
Look at the coach encouraging him. They probably taught him this.
Oh, yeah. 100%. Someone taught him. He didn't learn that in nursery school, that's for sure.
No, he did not.
No.
That's a fine in the NFL.
You guys didn't do that in Fort Lauderdale down here?
Westminster Academy, no. That one did not fly. We weren't even allowed to have a prom, let alone do that dance after a touchdown. Oh, some epic videos there.
That's great.
That's why we got the best players in the country here in the state of Florida. I'm gonna go ahead and brag on my state. Start them early.
As a New York football man, I can't fathom raising a son anywhere else now, man.
Yep.
We got to get him in here.
All right, that's a wrap for us. Episode 2 in the books. Make sure you go check us out. Give us a follow on YouTube and on social media at Danny Kanell from me at all the socials. What you got?
Manno Steel 17 on Twitter, Manno Steel on Instagram, and check me out on the Manect app. Download the Manect app. Get ready doing that.
There you go. We'll see you in a week.